Did you hear that London used more than $70 million on a bridge idea for tourists? Surprisingly, the project never kicked off. From the tale of North Korea's Tower of Doom to an enormous deserted city and the biggest deserted skyscraper, let's delve into 5 of the most significant mega projects that were never completed. Number 5. Changyun International Project, China. China has changed a lot in the last 30 years. Some say it's changed more than any other country. They've built huge projects to match their growing economy. But sometimes these projects don't work out. Instead of bustling cities, they end up with empty ghost towns. One of these ghost towns is in Hubei province, China. It's called the Changyun International Project. It was supposed to be amazing with fancy European-style buildings, bridges, parking lots, shops, and even tall skyscrapers. But it stopped being built in 2014. The company in charge of it was doing bad things, so the government stopped them. People stopped buying the houses and the company went bankrupt. The person in charge of the project wanted to spend $17 billion on it. They already sold about 700 houses before everything stopped. The location is good, near trains and subways. You can hear cars outside, but inside it's empty. Only animals live there now. In 2017, the government took over the project. They didn't finish it either. Nobody can live there, and it's just sitting empty. The buildings are getting worse every day. People come to take pictures of it because it's so strange to see such a big place empty like that. So, even though China has done a lot of great things, sometimes things don't work out. And now the Changyun International Project is just a reminder of that. Number 4. London Garden Bridge. Our next big project that we hadn't finished yet was set to happen in Europe, right on the famous Thames River in London. The city had a plan to build a special kind of bridge that would be like a floating garden over the river. The idea for this bridge came from actress Joanna Lumley back in the 90s. It wasn't until 2012 that the plans were finally shown to the public. This green bridge, 366 meters long and covered with trees and flowers, was going to cost a whopping $85 million. Its purpose was to connect the South Bank with the Temple area. The bridge, made of covered concrete, was supposed to be open 18 hours a day and was expected to bring in around 3 million visitors each year. People were told that the money for the bridge would come from private donors, so no public money was needed. However, by 2015, the charity in charge of the project, called the Garden Bridge Trust, said that the costs had gone up to $260 million, and $85 million of that was going to come from public funds. This caused a huge outcry from the public, and many journalists criticized the project for being too extravagant. The bridge that was built didn't really have a good reason to be there. People said it wasn't needed because the area already had enough bridges. Plus, it was super expensive compared to similar bridges. For example, the Millennium Bridge, which is 325 meters long, costs only $25 million. They started getting ready to build it in July 2016, but had to stop because they needed to check if they had enough money. By 2017, the cost had gone up to over $280 million, but they only had $180 million secured. They figured it would take at least 6 more years to get all the money. So, in August 2017, they officially decided to cancel the project. They thought it was better to stop before spending even more money on something that might not work. They even talked to Apple to see if they would help pay for the bridge and name it the Apple Bridge. But Apple wanted to open a store there, and that wasn't what the project was supposed to be about. In the end, the failed project cost $60 million. Most of that money went to the contractor because they had already signed a contract. Another $12.5 million went to designing the bridge. What was supposed to be a cool and useful bridge turned into a mess. They spent millions without even starting to build it. Number 3. Doha Shark Crossing. In 2010, Qatar got chosen to hold the 2022 FIFA World Cup, but it caused a lot of arguments. People wanted a fair investigation, and some big names in FIFA lost their jobs. Now, Qatar is getting ready for the World Cup in 2022. Even though many people were upset, Qatar continued to prepare for the World Cup. They had a bunch of projects like the Doha Bay Crossing, later called the Doha Shark Crossing. They shared the plan in 2013, saying it would be a 12-kilometer crossing with 3 bridges and long tunnels underwater. The crossing was supposed to handle 6,000 cars every hour, making it easy for traffic between the West Bay area and Hamad International Airport. It was a big project and cost about $12 billion. But before 2 years passed, they stopped working on it. Low oil prices and too much construction work were the main reasons for the delay. Because more people were moving to Qatar, they needed more houses. This made it hard to find enough skilled workers. So the government decided to stop all big projects that were not super important, and the Shark Crossing was one of them. After 4 years, in December 2019, they decided to start the project again. Qatar's Public Works Authority asked local companies to join with international companies to finish the crossing. They planned to start building by the end of 2020. In 2020, Qatar said they would spend $140 billion on finishing their big projects. People are hopeful that the Shark Crossing will start again in 2021. But even if it does, it will take at least 4 years to finish, which is after the World Cup in 2022. Number 2. Ryugyong Hotel. Now, let's talk about a big project from North Korea. It's kind of surprising because North Korea isn't usually open to visitors, especially from the Western world. They only allow guided tours, and journalists can't go there. But there was a time when North Korea had a plan to build a huge 105-story hotel. It would have been shaped like a pyramid and would have been the tallest hotel ever. The reason behind this project was North Korea's competition with South Korea. South Korea was becoming a capitalist democracy, different from North Korea's communist regime. A South Korean company had just built the world's tallest hotel in Singapore, and North Korea wanted to beat that. So, in 1987, they started building the Ryugyong Hotel with help from Russia. It was going to be 330 meters tall, and it had 3 wings that formed a cone at the top. The upper part of the pyramid was supposed to have 5 rotating restaurants with great views of the Pyongyang skyline. It was a bold move for a country that doesn't usually welcome outsiders. In December 1991, the Soviet Union ended, and the money for a big construction project stopped. Construction stopped in 1992 and didn't start again for 16 years. During that time, the big concrete building became known as the Hotel of Doom. In 2008, a company from Egypt took over the project. They spent $180 million to put glass and lights on the outside. But there were more problems, and construction stopped again. In 2018, the lights on the outside of the building were used for something new. The building is now always lit up with messages about Korean history and other things from the government. Even though it seems alive again, it might cost $2 billion more to finish the hotel. That's 5% of all the money North Korea has. So, even though they tried to start and stop many times, it's very hard to say if this big concrete building will ever be finished. The Ryugyong Hotel is now in the Guinness World Records as the tallest empty building in the world. But that might change soon with our last project on the list. Number 1. Golden Finance 117. In this video's last big project, we're going back to China to talk about a really tall skyscraper that's still not done. They started building the Golden Finance 117 in 2008. Thinking it would be taller than the Shanghai Tower and become the second tallest building globally, just after the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. They finished the bottom part of the tower by 2012, and it reached a height of 597 meters in September 2015. But then, the person in charge of the project ran into money problems, and the construction work stopped. They tried to start building again in 2018, but that didn't work out, and no one else has taken over the project since then. While the construction was on hold, some adventurous people tried to climb the empty building. In 2016, a couple from Russia climbed all the way to the top and even went up the crane at the very top. But as for finishing the building, it looks like a rule from Beijing in April 2020 made it almost impossible. The government said no more skyscrapers taller than 500 meters, and it seems like they won't finish this huge building. What do you think about projects like this? Do you know about other projects that never got finished? Let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.